It says, dumbass DC police shot innocent man. And I think that's a pretty succinct way to sum up the situation that occurred here in DC late last week. Okay. So we're going to go to a package for it that does a decent job of surmising some of the basic facts. But let me say this. And big up to DMV Black Lives for tagging me on the story. I saw the story, in regular reporting because, again, I'm a bit of a local news hound. Not because I like to watch the local news per se. I think I like to watch it and then complain about it. So hold on. So there's that. But I appreciate DMV Black Lives tagging me on it because I did see it. So Metropolitan Police have been shooting people. We've done some stories here specifically about DC police killing people on scooters, shooting people straight up, killing a sleeping man in his car. As soon as he woke up, he looked up, tried to get away from the cops. The cops lit him up, shot him dead. And it doesn't seem to end here. But the amount of police shootings that happen in DC, to me, they don't really get national attention, which is pretty fucking telling, right? This is the nation's capital. The police here blam on folks all the time. Does not make the news outside of this area, but I digress. So, late last week, DC Police Chief, Metropolitan Police Chief Robert Conti, a black man, stood at a podium, had a press conference where he announced that Metropolitan Police were in search of somebody accused of domestic violence. The person was accused of hitting a woman in public with some sort of object and then fleeing the scene. And the police were trying to find this person. So this is where we're going to pick up with the package because the dumbass fucking cops, and I don't know if it was a white cop or a black cop who shot this individual. It really doesn't fucking matter because he was a piggy piece of shit. And he deserves to be charged with attempted murder. And hopefully we will eventually get there. But let me bring you up to speed here. So, Will, let's cue up that Fox 5 DC package, okay? So what we are going to hear, and big up to, again, DC, DMV Black Lives, it said, and they captioned this in the tweet. It says, the man the DC police shot was not the subject that they were looking for. The story that Chief Conti told and that the press at the press conference on the same was already made no sense. And now we know why. Now we know exactly why what Chief Conti said at that original press conference didn't make any sense because the cops didn't know what the fuck they were talking about per usual. So we'll let Fox 5 DC pick it up. Let me give a content warning here, trigger warning. You're going to hear details about police brutality, about police violence. You are going to hear from a black mother who is understandably upset that her son, who was minding this man could not have been minding his business more before Metropolitan Police decided to put a bullet in his stomach. And for what? So just a heads up there, you're going to hear some disturbing details being described. So let's check out this package.
Information about an officer-involved shooting in Southeast D.C. Police now say the man they shot Friday was not the suspect they were searching for after they were called to Good Hope Road for an assault.
First on Fox 5, we are hearing from the mother of the man who was shot. Nana Santio Bonsu has the latest on this investigation that has many questioning what happened.
Guys, the mother of the man who was shot by a D.C. police officer on Friday tells me her son is currently in the ICU, handcuffed to his hospital bed.
And you know you shot the wrong person. You know he wasn't the person that you were looking for. And you're gonna tell me my son is handcuffed and I can't see him?
Dorothy Hose has not seen her son, Stephen Shaw, since he was shot by a D.C. police officer Friday morning.
That's my son on the ground.
This is video captured by a witness moments after the shooting. You can see 38-year-old Shaw in handcuffs on the ground. Police were called to this area of Good Hope Road in Southeast about an altercation. When they arrived, they found a female victim who told police a man hit her with a metal box, threatened her, and left the scene. One officer started searching the area for the suspect the woman described and approached Shaw, who was in the passenger seat of a parked car.
And I'm the young lady that was driving the car that Stephen Shaw was shot in.
His mother witnessed the shooting. She says the officer asked Shaw to step out of the car several times.
So Steve was like, I'm not getting out my mother's car because I didn't do anything.
Police say Shaw did not comply and reached into his waistband before the officer fired his weapon.
I seen when he shot him, and I saw like a light and then the smoke. And Steve said, man, why'd you shoot me?
Shaw was taken to MedStar Washington Hospital Center for surgery, where he was also arrested for possession with intent to distribute cocaine. Another man, 59-year-old Wallace Lewis, is facing several charges in connection with the assault and is the man that police were originally searching for.
If he wasn't facing you, then how were you fighting?
Dorothy stopped by the hospital on Sunday but wasn't allowed to see her son.
And they said the bullet ripped his whole stomach apart. Okay? They said that they had to replace everything, damn near.
During our interview, Dorothy got a call from her son's doctor. He's doing much better.
Yeah, I took out his breathing tube, so he's breathing on his own and he's talking and stuff, and I just had a good full conversation with him.
Early in the investigation, Chief Robert Conti was looking to speak with Dorothy, the driver of the car.
So I'm appealing to her, please, we really need to talk to you.
She tells me she panicked when she heard the gunshot.
I was nervous. That's the only reason I left.
But ended up going to the precinct to speak with police.
Something definitely needs to be done. He didn't do anything wrong. You already admitted that he was not the person. You made a mistake. But yet still, you got him laying there. He can't even walk again.
Now, D.C. Police says the officer involved in the shooting is currently on administrative leave, and that body cam footage is currently under review.
You know, just kind of listening to the agony in Miss Dorothy's voice, it's very upsetting. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, get emotional here, but I was just listening to the exacerbation, the frustration, the bewilderment, the hurt coming from that Black mother. Because again, I'm sorry, her son is in ICU for what? Because he was sitting in the passenger seat of a car because Metropolitan Police was looking for a person 20 years his senior and somehow mistook him for being in his 50s. And the man who had a right to refuse to comply to police officers because, again, he committed no crime. I'm scared of police. I'm not getting out the fucking car, man. I, too, am not getting out the car, especially if I'm not driving. Miss Dorothy, I'm so sorry that this has happened to Stephen. Stephen, I am sorry, and I hope that they have removed the handcuffs from Stephen. And the fact that Stephen is charged with anything is an absolute outrage because they had no probable cause at all to search him. I'm hoping that there is a very quality criminal justice attorney that is going to step up and represent Mr. Stephen and give him a zealous defense. Because how the fuck you going to charge this man with possession of cocaine? What probable cause did you have to search him? Oh, because he did not fit description of a suspect that you were looking for? Make it make fucking sense. These charges are bogus. They will be thrown out. They will be dismissed. But you know what's not going to be thrown out? The bullet that Stephen took to his stomach. His mother said that they took everything out. They had to replace everything. Do you know what I read from that? Or I discerned from that? I'm sure Stephen, all I hear is colostomy bag. You know what I'm saying? When you get shot in your stomach, in your lower abdomen, you got a lot of organs down there. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of shit down there. And bullets tend to ricochet. They tend to go different directions once they penetrate the body. This man is in intensive care. And these fucking heartless ass pigs who put him there would not even allow his mother to come see him. On the DMV Black Lives Matter tweet that accompanied that package, they said, and I don't know who authored the tweet, but I know the account, it was posted to the account. They said, you wanted more police, you got it. This is what more police in your community looks like. More innocent people who didn't have nothing to do with nothing being shot and being charged criminally themselves for being innocent and not doing anything. I'm sorry. Failure to comply does not equal you get to shoot me, cop. It doesn't. It doesn't. And excuse me, one second. Sorry. That bullshit that the reporter reported, that propaganda, that cop stenography that she reported when she said police said that the suspect made a movement towards his waistband and that's when he was shot. You know what I didn't hear? Follow up that little nougat. I didn't hear that Steven had any weapons on him. I'm sorry, so niggas can't even fucking adjust their belts. You can't even adjust your fucking waistband. You can't scratch your stomach. You can't scratch your balls. You can't do nothing reaching in the crotchal region when in the presence of police, lest these scary ass, soft as scrotum skin cowards seem to think that their lives are constantly in danger when they themselves are the danger. The point that I wanted to make about this case, again, tragically, these types of incidents usually do not make national news. Like the pigs have to murder somebody, right? And they have to murder somebody who was completely being 100% innocent, right? Because if the person somehow ends up shot by police and they were jaywalking, well, they were breaking the laws, is the usual American reaction to shit, right? But we don't talk a lot about the aftermaths of when police violence ends up creating disabilities within folks, okay? This is one of those. One of the most notable instances in recent memory is that of Jacob Blake. Was he in Wisconsin? Where was that, guys? Was that Kenosha? Help me out, chat. I can't recall. I believe that was in Wisconsin. Yes, I don't think it was Minnesota. The young man who was walking back to get in his truck where his 3 children were in the truck, and the cop, this fucking coward ass cop, had his gun trained on Jacob's neck for the entire duration. As soon as Jacob went to get in his truck and leave the scene, the police put many bullets in him, paralyzing him. During the 2020 uprisings in response to the murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, a lot of people caught rubber bullets in the eyes, y'all. A lot of people lost eyes during the 2020 protests. It's a madness to even think about. And the number of people who actually survive police shootings and police beatings. Likely, if Tyree Nichols had survived, he would have possibly been dealing with some sort of permanent injury, like a permanent disability. And we don't talk about that enough. We talk about police murders, but we don't talk about when police permanently disable people. And I don't think an encounter with a cop should forever alter your life or alter the way that you live your life. And I don't think the state is as accountable financially for those types of injuries as they are when it comes to murders and high profile lawsuits filed by people like Ben Crump. In fact, Ben Crump should get on this shit, to be honest. And not to say that he's not on it. I don't fucking know. I don't keep up with Ben Crump by and large. But I would like to see a movement surrounding people being compensated for the long-term and or permanent physical impacts that they end up suffering with for a lifetime after a violent encounter with the police. And it's always the police who are being violent. As you heard in that story, Stephen was sitting again in the passenger seat. He wasn't driving. The cop asked him to get out. He said, for what? And the cop thinks that just because he say get out, Stephen got to get out. And I'm so sorry that Stephen ended up shot, but he should not have been shot. And this cop should not have their job. This police officer needs to be fired. They need to be charged with attempted murder or reckless endangerment or some other sort of felony that would hopefully preclude this person from ever joining the police force or any police force ever again. Because if you're just willing to shoot people in the stomach who are scratching their bellies while saying they don't want to get out the car because you're a fucking scary little coward who I don't even know why the fuck these cops even show up to work. You think everybody's shooting at you every goddamn day. You fucking pussies. And that's the only reason I call them a pussy, because I know pussy lands. When I tell them that they throw off the scrotum skin, and they got to think about that shit for a couple seconds before they figure out what exactly it is that I mean. But regardless, the people who are disabled by police violence deserve as much of our attention, as much as of our organization, as much of our support as do the families of those murdered by police. So I just wanted to put that out there, guys. So